Hello, everybody. Good morning. This is Jake, your resident content cowboy here. Yee-haw. And these are the craziest patch notes I have ever read in my entire life. These patch notes are nuts. This is big. I think this is big. This changes the game in a really huge way. So we're gonna go through all the patch notes. I'm gonna tell you what I think it's going to do to the game. Oh boy. Nintendo, you are really doing something with the way you are not giving us stats, not giving us any information. I will tell you, when you read patch notes for other games, they are very, very specific. Okay? These patch notes are about as vague as you could get. I'll explain. But I'm going to talk to you in this video about what is changing, what I think it's going to do to the meta. We're going to take a look at where I think it would put people on a little bit of a tier list. It's not going to be a full tier list video or anything like that because I want to play the game once these patch notes drop. Or excuse me, once this patch drops. I love, by the way, that this patch is coming so fast. There's nothing I like more than going through stuff like this and seeing how it changes the game. So let me take you on over to these notes. This from the Pokémon Unite Twitter over to their website. I'll scroll on down here. Let's see. We've got an update coming on 8/4 at midnight Pacific Standard Time or Pacific D time. I don't remember how that works. Okay, a spectate feature's coming in, which is going to be pretty cool to see. And let's see. Let's start with our buddy Charizard. Charizard is getting a huge buff, and I think he absolutely needed it. I think anyone who's been playing the game a lot recognizes that Charizard has been pretty underpowered. It's not that he can't compete at all, and this is the case with all of these characters. It's not that there's no way for Charizard to do well, but he's just a little under level. I was so surprised when the game came out that Charizard and Venusaur were both pulled back a bit. And I wonder if they recently had a nerf, before the game came out. Maybe something in one of the betas made them think, oh, we actually made Charizard too powerful. So here we go. Charizard's flamethrower cooldown is reduced. That's incredible. Effects on opposing Pokemon are strengthened. Awesome. Fire Punch, effects on opposing Pokemon are strengthened. Fire Blast, the cooldown is reduced, and effects on opposing Pokemon are strengthened. So, an upgrade to a lot of Charizard's kit here. We also, the interesting thing is, it says changes are being made to some Pokemon stats and moves to adjust. So, they do mention a Pokemon that has a stat change. Let me tell you something. I don't know if this is your first rodeo here, but in a MOBA, when you hear about stat changes, move changes, you never hear move is strengthened, cooldown reduced, attack is decreased. You would never, ever, ever hear that. And I am shocked at the level of transparency in this MOBA, which is very, very little. The craziest thing is, some people out there are going to test it, and we're going to know what these changes are. So I don't understand why they won't just come out and tell us Charizard Flamethrower cooldown going from 6 seconds to 5 seconds or whatever. That's usually what a patch note looks like. Base attack on Cinderace going from, X to Y. That's usually what you see on a patch note. We're not seeing that. But we'll know very soon. It's going to be tested. This is one a lot of people are not talking about, Talonflame. Talonflame is getting a buff across the board, and Talonflame absolutely needs it. Acrobatics damage is going up, Aerial Ace damage, Aerial Ace plus damage, and Fly all going up. So that's big. That's big for Talonflame because Talonflame is in a bad position in the game right now. Venusaur, Venusaur mains, get ready because we don't know exactly what this means. Literally things that say effects on opposing Pokemon are strengthened. I'm guessing that means the special defense that would be taken away when you use Sludge Bomb. Damage delta increased. Petal Dance move upgrade. I'm guessing that means you move faster. All of these things, by the way, I know I'm kind of beating a dead horse here. A lot of cowboy stuff today. I know I'm kind of beating a dead horse here, but this is not what a patch note looks like in any other game. This is a bizarre patch note. This is the patch note you give to a community when you go, we're never going to tell you anything about this game. It's really wild. Okay. Solar Beam, cooldown reduced. Unite move, damage dealt to opposing Pokemon increase. I mean, Venusaur is going up, up, up. If you own Venusaur stock, you're like, wah! If you own Gengar stock, you're like, ah. Absol. A bug fix to the basic attack. I'll have to see what that feels like. I've been working on an Absol guide for a little while now, so I'm interested to see kind of how that changes things. Night Slash damage increased and Sucker Punch damage increased. Absol needed a bit of a buff. Absol's really good early on, and it's a bit of a noob stomper Pokemon. You know, it comes in and it beats people in non-ranked matches and stuff, but it needed a bit of a buff for sure. This one is one of my favorites. This is one of my favorites. Wigglytuff gets a buff. Stats, defense, special defense, HP, all increased. Double slap damage, increased. Effects, strengthened. Sing, strengthened. I can't believe it. I love Wigglytuff. I love Wigglytuff, but it falls off. It falls off later game, and now I'm wondering, I mean, they just put Wigglytuff in such a good position here. He's still a weird support because he feels a lot more like a defender to me at times. But, man, I can't wait to play with this buffed Wigglytuff. This is going to be so awesome. This is one of, I think, this is probably, in some ways, could be the biggest change of the whole patch. I know a lot of people are going to be looking at it as Gengar, but this eldegoss change could be huge. A longer cooldown on Cotton Guard, and the HP restoration decreased. Basically, the only Pokemon that could shield and heal really with any consistency just got its power reduced. Now, Cotton Spore had its cooldown reduced and effects strengthened a little bit, so I'm guessing they're hoping that you use Cotton Spore instead of Cotton Guard, but you've literally taken the only real healer support in the game and you've nerfed him. That's going to be interesting. It's going to be really interesting to see. And his Unite move restores less HP. So, I don't know. I played so much Eldegoss going up through the ranks. I love Eldegoss, and I am a little sad to see it getting nerfed so hard. I kind of get it, but I honestly think more than it getting nerfed, maybe others should just get a buff because you kind of need someone healing, right? Cinderace. Cinderace, of course, is getting the nerf. Cinderace's attack stats have decreased, its Blaze Kick damage is decreased, its Feint has a move downgrade, and its Pyro Ball damage dealt to opposing Pokemon is increased. So they are saying, hey, maybe instead of Blaze Kick, because a lot of people take Blaze Kick, you know, it gives you that extra attack speed, maybe start trying to use Pyro Ball. This is going to be huge for Cinderace. I think if the damage is negligible, Cinderace is still going to be a beast. I think Cinderace is still going to be an important Pokemon that matters, but you're taking the attack damage carry Pokemon and you're lowering its attack. So clearly you're saying, get out of here, Cinderace. We want to see the meta differently. And now for the Pokemon that everyone wanted to see nerfed. I personally didn't want to see it nerfed. I actually kind of wanted to see it changed. I recognize that's really, really tough early on. I think Gengar is an absolute beast, and all the way up until high ranks, I think Gengar is a pretty unstoppable Pokemon, especially against newer players. Gengar is, without question, the best Pokemon in the game. Even against experienced players, you get caught, and you can be in trouble with Gengar. So, they increased Shadow Ball's damage, but they did a move downgrade to Hex, and I'm guessing it's going to be something along the lines of how many times you can use it or how quickly in succession you could use it. We will see, but this is that Gengar nerf that everyone was looking for. And then Dream Eater gets an upgrade. So what I've noticed they're doing with a lot of these is they're saying, okay, so one part of this Pokemon's kit, one set of its moves are clearly the only moves to pick. Let's see what we can do about that. So I will talk to you in a minute about what I think this does to Gengar overall, but this is that Gengar nerf that we all knew was coming. It had to happen because it's, even if you're someone like me who thinks Gengar is strong but a bit overrated, I can still recognize how there are a lot of people who play this game. And there are some people who play it at an extremely high level, and there's some people who play it at a pretty decently high level. I'd say I'm decently high. I'm not a the best player in the world or anything like that, but I've played a lot of MOBAs. And then there are another huge swath of players who don't play necessarily at that level. They're still learning the game. They're still learning MOBAs. And all of those people are being eaten alive by Gengar. Zeraora. This is an interesting one because I thought maybe we'd see a nerf to Zeraora, but instead what we're seeing is Wild Charge is being buffed, so it's dealing more damage, and its cooldown is getting reduced. That's going to be interesting to see. Then it is getting a nerf, so its Unite move is getting a nerf, and I kind of actually agree with this. I always thought Zeraora's Unite move was bizarre because it's just sort of following you, and then it does a huge amount of damage when it finally lands. I don't know. I always thought his Unite move was a little bizarre, and I'm not too surprised that we're not seeing more of a nerf for him, because as I've said earlier, when you're playing some of the higher ranked games, Gengar and Zeraora aren't as useful as they are in lower ranks, so I think they don't want to destroy them. They're just giving you a different way to play Zeraora here. Cramorant, I didn't expect this. Cramorant's Whirlpool damage is decreased and its dive is increased. This is fine. I don't know. I don't know if Cramorant really needed an adjustment. Its early game Whirlpool needed an adjustment. I'm kind of scratching my head about that one. And then increasing the damage to dive. Okay, cool. It's still not the build that I prefer, but yeah, I mean, I'm scratching my head a little bit with Cramorant. I didn't expect any type of rework for Cramorant. Not really from a champ either, if I'm being honest. So the basic attack had a bug fix, and then cross chop damage is decreased and close combat is increased. I'm guessing they just thought, we don't want every Pokemon to only be, this is the move set for you. This is the Machamp build. This is the Cramorant build, even though Cramorant's a little more varied. This is the Lucario build, etc. So I get what they're doing with this, but I don't know. I don't feel like cross chop really needs to have a damage reduction. Doesn't feel like it to me, at least when I'm playing. Lucario had some bug fixes, so did Greninja and Alolan Ninetales. When I saw Lucario here, I thought, oh man, are they nerfing another one of the people I love to play with? But Lucario, Greninja, Alolan Ninetales, just some bug fixes on some of their moves. Okay, let's talk about what I think this does to the meta a little bit here. Okay, so here we have a tier list. This is just going to be about the Pokemon who were affected by this and what I think it's going to do with them inside the hierarchy of things. I'm not going to worry about all the people who are not affected by this change, so don't stress too much about any of that. Let's talk about some of the biggest things. So we've got Charizard, Talonflame, and Venusaur. All of them, I think, hang out around the B and C tier in this. Just for example, I'm putting them all in C tier. You could also say the same thing maybe with Wigglytuff. I think Charizard from this will move up to B or A. So I think we're going to see Charizard moving up, Talonflame probably moving up to B. It might still take some time for Talonflame. We have to see because we don't know the values. Venusaur, I think this all looks like a huge upgrade to both versions of Venusaur. I think Venusaur moves way up, and Absol even moves a bit up. So let me move Absol up a little bit here. Wigglytuff also goes up. Zeraora, I think, stays the same. So does Cramorant. Machamp, I feel like sometimes is S tier. Maybe it moves to A. Maybe this even moves Machamp a little bit down, given that Cross Chop is the move. I don't know what to say about Gengar, except if this has completely destroyed Hex, I think you drop Gengar way down. Way down. Because Hex is Gengar. It is what Gengar is doing. So if you've changed the way that move works and you have made it so Gengar cannot benefit from that anymore, I think you drop Gengar completely. Eldegoss, I think, still has the possibility to be an S tier Pokemon because it's just so important to give shields and health. However, we don't know the cooldowns. So this, for me, what this does is it either stays in S, it's just still extremely important, or the cooldowns and the health received go way down. And then now all of a sudden, I don't know what happens to Eldegoss. I feel like you drop Eldegoss at least to A. At least. And then when something like that happens, it does leave room for someone like Wigglytuff, Mr. Mime, you know, to come in and do something as a support role. It also might kind of destroy the support role for a little while. This happens a lot in games like this where they nerf something, they patch something, they buff something, and then all of a sudden the meta, you lose an entire group inside the meta, and people realize like, oh, you actually don't need a support, you just need 2 defenders. Or there's no point in running speedsters right now, it's all rounders. So you have an all-rounder in each lane. Like things like that happen with nerfs and buffs and as people figure out how to play them. I think Eldegoss will still probably hang out in S. That's my guess. I think it's still going to be important, but they have not given us numbers, so it's going to be up to people to figure out how big of a change this is. Cinderace. This is a real question, because Cinderace is the Pokemon in my opinion. It's the most important Pokemon right now. It is the big carry. It does everything. You put it in the jungle over speedsters. Depending on how much they have nerfed the attack of this Pokemon, I think it at least moves to A tier, but this happens from time to time where the creators see that one Pokemon or one unit in a MOBA is doing everything, is the most important unit late game, and you see it get nerfed into the ground. We could see Cinderace fall off completely and other Pokemon take its place. Maybe it's really time for, Greninja to shine. Maybe it's really time for Pikachu, oh, I'd love that, to shine. Maybe Alolan Ninetales is even better now. We're going to have to see, because right now, Cinderace is the only Pokemon that carries like it. I think instead of nerfing Cinderace, which I understand the nerf, but I think instead of nerfing Cinderace, I would just want other Pokemon that did a similar role to Cinderace with different flavor so that we could choose between them. Because pretty much every team in a MOBA is going to have a Pokemon like a Cinderace. They just need more Pokemon like a Cinderace. So we could see Eldegoss moving down. We could see Cinderace moving down. So what does that do? What does it do when I say, well, now Cinderace and Eldegoss move down, they're not top tier anymore? Well, things are going to take its place. So if we say that Snorlax is usually up here, Alolan Ninetales is often high. I've seen Cramorant moving its way between S and A, which, oh, I love to hear it because he's my favorite. People like Pikachu could start to get a little more play. I think we're still in trouble with people like Garchomp and possibly Mr. Mime. But when Eldegoss drops, Mr. Mime has an ability to go up. When Machamp drops, Garchomp has an ability to go up. Although, I think if we're going to see a switch, it's between Charizard and Machamp, most likely. Considering that everyone else is left relatively untouched, we're still going to see Slowbro be a high A or S tier defender choice. Greninja, I think gets a buff if Cinderace really drops down hard, which is totally possible. And then what you start to see is you see a new meta for the new 5-person team. And I'm not sure what that is. I think we're still going to see Lucario up there. I think we're still going to probably see Alolan Ninetales or even Cramorant, hopefully, move up there, although Cramorant did get a little bit of a nerf. Does Charizard start to take the place of someone in the jungle? I mean, how much did Charizard get buffed? And if we're losing a support, is there a world, and I would love this, is there a world where Wigglytuff moves up to S tier? Does he become the support, or do we wait for the Pokemon who I won't name because I don't want to spoil things that have been data mined, but do we wait for the Pokemon who is coming out as a support to possibly fill the Eldegoss role? It's all up in the air right now. But what I think we know for sure is that Gengar has been nerfed into the dirt. And it looks like Cinderace has been nerfed considerably, to the point where we might be seeing more Greninjas. If we started seeing Venusaurs on team comps, I would love to see that. I would love to see a buff Charizard. More than anything, I want to see this Wigglytuff become a little hero, man. That would be so cool. So there you go, everybody. Those are the patch notes. Those are some of my thoughts on what might happen with all this. Again, we don't have numbers. We don't have any cold, hard facts. It's very frustrating in some ways, but it's going to be really interesting to see how it plays out. I hope you found this video interesting. I hope it was informative as well. I love talking about patch notes and changes in games like this, so whenever it happens, I will try to get out here and make a video as quick as I can. Let me know what you think in the comments. Is this the end for Gengar? Is this the end for Cinderace? I'm curious. Thank you all very much for watching. Thank you for listening. I love you all. Goodbye. Mwah.